catch up here.
No problem.
Oh, this stupid thing. YouTube, here it goes. Hello everyone, welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. I want to welcome everybody here to the program tonight. I'm just waiting for YouTube to catch up here, and it looks like YouTube is starting to catch up. We have Demon Catman from the east of England here. We have Juanito from El Centro, California. We have Ray Spur here. Everybody says hello. Welcome everyone, we appreciate you here. I'm just going to wait another minute or so to get more people here in the chat, knowing that you're all here on the air with us. Linda Moses is here. Heidi Petrick is here. Thank you so much. Heidi Petrick came here from Bothell, Washington. Thank you so much, Heidi. We appreciate you here. Let's see who else is going to join us here in just a second. Can someone give me a 5x5? I want to make sure our video and audio is up to par. Demon Catman is here. Thank you so much. Demon Catman is one of our mods here. Demon Catman just gave us a 5x5. I appreciate that so much. Ray Spur gave us a 5x5 as well. Just again waiting for a few more people to come here in the chat. I have a lot of good things that are going to happen tonight on our program. We have a lot of great information for all of you. I'm just waiting for more people to join us so we don't have to repeat what we are going to tell you. Virginia Ortega is here. Thank you, Virginia, for being here. God bless you. Tim Gibson is here. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you here as well. It's going to be a fun night tonight. I promise you it's going to be a fun night. Heidi Petrick says, hey, Demon Catman. It's great to see all of you here. It really is. Let's wait just another minute or so to get people here. I enjoy everyone being here. I just don't want to repeat what we're talking about. We're going to talk about the Hurricane Beryl. We're going to talk about politics. I've got a guest host here from Canada, and we're going to talk about what's going on in Canada as well. There's a lot of things going on that we need to discuss. There's a lot of things that are going to affect each and every one of us. That's why I'm kind of waiting just another minute or so to introduce our guest host and get into the meat of our program. Let's see who all is going to join us here. Charlie is here. Thank you so much, Charlie. We appreciate you being here. Let's wait another couple minutes to get some more people here, and then we'll start off on this program. I've got a guest host that's just waiting with bated breath to come on the air with us. It's going to be fun. I guarantee you it's going to be a lot of fun with our guest host. He's been on the air with us before, and he's going to be on the air tonight. And he's probably going to be on the air many times between now and the end of the year. Our guest host is a good friend of ours. You all know him, but you don't know he's going to be on the air in just a second here. It's going to be a lot of fun, I guarantee you. It's going to be a spirited discussion here. A very spirited discussion. Yes, we're going to talk about earthquakes in just a minute. I'm going to start this program up talking about earthquakes. There hasn't been that many big earthquakes at all. In fact, there has not been any more than like 3 large earthquakes worldwide. There's over 1,000 earthquakes worldwide and only about 265 earthquakes on the USGS map. 265, 267 earthquakes on the USGS map. Go figure. Go figure. USGS does not ever want to admit what's going on. However, in the past, I've shown you all, well, I can't say all, about 80% of the earthquakes on the EMSC map. The European Meteorological Society Center the EMSC, the European Meteorological Society Center map. They do a better job of portraying earthquakes in reality than USGS ever hoped to be. Yet USGS is allegedly the largest and most accurate forecasting or reporting agency in the world. Yet they don't even report all the earthquakes. It's insane. It really is insane. Now, Ray Spurs here in the chat saying everything is normal at USPS, pretty much, because they're still not reporting everything going on. But I'm going to tell you this right now. What is going on in Southern California is despicable. What is going on in Southern California is despicable. Why? Because we are about to have a major earthquake in Southern California. It's either going to happen at the U.S.-Mexican border or it's going to happen north of there. Either way, it's going to happen on the San Andreas Fault. We have a lot of earthquakes hitting. USGS is only reporting about 10% of the earthquakes. 10%. Because they, again, do not want anybody to know what's going on. Jackie Slack is here in the chat, says, how are you doing, young man? We're doing fine. We appreciate all of you being here with us. Richard Smith from Nova Scotia, Canada is here. One of these days I'm going to have Richard Smith on our channel with us. Folks, today we have a special guest with us. Again, the special guest has been with us before. I want to point out who he is. He's a dear friend of mine. Like I said, he's been on the air with us before. He's a lot of fun. He's a blast. Okay? I've known him for a lot of years now. Guys, meet Dave, Canadian Patriot 1. Canadian Patriot 1. He is from over in the Quebec area. Go ahead, Dave. Talk about yourself.
How you doing, everybody? Happy to see you all in the chat. Yeah, I'm in northeastern Ontario, about 3 hours south of James Bay, if you know where that's at on a map.
Yeah.
And probably an hour from the Quebec border. So I'm in the north.
He's in the north. Dave likes to fish. I think I first started talking to Dave about fishing a long time ago. And that's where we've gone. And from there, Dave and I have talked about everything under the sun, literally. From earthquakes to politics, about anything, including our families, our health, all kinds of things. It's fun. Yeah. It's been fun getting to know Dave over the years. It's been a lot of fun. Dave, do you want to talk about anything to do with earthquakes right now?
Well, I can tell you that I know that there's a lot more earthquakes than what USGS puts out. And I like how when they put them on the little charts, how they downsize it so much. So blind guys like me can't see them, or old guys will say like me. If you can't see it, did it happen?
Yeah, true story.
Yeah, government logic.
Yeah. It's the truth. That's really the truth. It's amazing. It really is. Guys, I appreciate Dave being here with us. Dave is a very intelligent man. Honestly. Tonight we're going to talk about everything under the sun. The first thing I want to talk about tonight we just got through talking a little bit about earthquakes. That is basically all we want to talk about when it comes to earthquakes tonight. Nothing is new. Literally nothing is new. But what I do want to talk about is Hurricane Beryl. Hurricane Beryl. This is the start of our program. Hurricane Beryl. We noted yesterday the spaghetti model. This is a spaghetti model. Why do they call it a spaghetti model? Because it looks like a bunch of spaghetti. Yesterday, Hurricane Beryl was still coming out of Grenada, just south of, or actually west of Grenada, north of South America. Today it hit Kingston, Jamaica. It hit Kingston, Jamaica with a fury. Now, I may come back to this slide here. I want to show you what happened in Kingston, Jamaica today. Look at this slide that's coming up. Destruction.
Yeah, it's devastating.
It's devastating. This slide is actually what happened in Grenada after the Hurricane 5 storm hit Grenada. Look at the destruction. Absolute and total destruction in many areas. The same thing is happening over in Kingston, Jamaica today. Today, Hurricane Beryl hit in Kingston, Jamaica at about 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., Hurricane Beryl was a Category 5 storm. It hit over and went over over Jamaica today. And it left many areas in complete rubble. This is the storm as it was approaching Jamaica this morning. Again, Jamaica got hit with a Category 5. The storm is now a Category 4 hurricane. A Category 4 hurricane. It's still proceeding westbound. Now I'm going to pull up the hurricane tracker here. I want you to see this. Look at this. 8 p.m. Wednesday, Hurricane Beryl will be passing Jamaica. 8 p.m. tonight, which is about another hour and a half from now. It'll be past Jamaica, leaving a trail of death and destruction. As I said earlier today, Hurricane Beryl barreled into Jamaica as a Category 5 storm. It's now a Category 4. After it went over land, it decreased in its strength. Right now it's heading right for the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, and Honduras. There are several thousand people living in this area. Not just several thousand people, but tens of thousands of people living here in the Yucatan Peninsula. It's going to hurt people. It's already left its destruction path, injuring and killing people. We don't have the full story because when the hurricane hit, it took down the power. Every time the hurricane hits land, it takes down the power. I fully expect the same thing to happen over here in Jamaica on Friday. On Friday, right here. By tomorrow evening, when everybody is celebrating here in the United States their freedom on July 4th, lighting off firecrackers and other fireworks, the hurricane is going to be out here in the Caribbean, approaching the Yucatan Peninsula. By 8 a.m. Friday, the hurricane will be over the Yucatan Peninsula, further creating more death and destruction. By approximately 4 a.m. on Friday, it will be hitting Jamaica full force, or hitting the Yucatan Peninsula full force. But folks, what you don't know, about 8 hours before that happens, 8 hours before the hurricane strikes, 8 to 12 hours, the outer bands of the hurricane will hit the Yucatan Peninsula. Just like what happened this morning in Jamaica, the outer bands hit. Terrific winds, thunderstorms, and tornadoes. The outer bands of the hurricane spin off these huge thunderstorms and tornadoes, and that's exactly what has happened with Hurricane Beryl. Hurricane Beryl is the first named hurricane this year. This is the earliest hurricane we've ever had in terms of a historical time period. The hurricane hit in July. It usually does not happen like this. but this is the first named hurricane in the Caribbean Sea today. Okay? There are other tropical storms brewing over in the Lesser Antilles right now. Other tropical storms and tropical depressions. We have yet to have another hurricane named. It remains to be seen. Okay? But this is what's going to happen. We are going to keep a close eye on this hurricane. As it approaches the Yucatan Peninsula, I will probably be on the air early Friday morning. I want to be broadcasting and hopefully showing what's going on. I want to be on the air to talk about it because we have our friends there. Over in Belize, we had our dear friend Larry Smith. He's dead now. He passed away the end of last year. His family's still there. His family and friends that labored over there in Belize, building his ranch and compound there, raising animals, and Larry and his family providing life for those people in Belize. Larry's wife was a doctor and provided relief and health so those people could live. Larry and his wife saved many lives. Now his wife is operating basically by herself and with the help of the people that Larry had hired. They are now and have been boarding up their compound and trying to get ready to face this hurricane. And it is going to happen. How fast is that thing moving? It's moving about 100 miles an hour. I'm sorry, that's not true. It's moving about 4 to 8 miles per hour in a westward direction. 4 to 5 miles per hour in a westward direction. Right now, the outer bands of the hurricane are spinning. The winds are at about 150 miles an hour. About 150 miles an hour. The sustained winds are a lot more powerful. The sustained gusts are about 170 miles per hour, but we cannot measure the hurricane by the gusts. The hurricane is measured by sustained winds, about 150 to 155 miles an hour. That's what's going on. Heidi, thank you for that question. It's very much appreciated. Do you guys have any more questions about Hurricane Beryl? This is important. I'm thankful that you guys provided that question. Crab Kate is saying, and the chat was taken down, making this sound like the end of the world. It's not. It's not. Yes, hurricanes do chill out some. As Hurricane Beryl passed over Jamaica, it became a Category 4 storm. Anytime hurricanes pass over land, they reduce in size. They reduce in size. And that's what happened here today. Any other questions here?
Pray for the ones that are there, and pray for the people that it's going to hit later, because it may intensify. If it comes into the Gulf of Mexico, that's a bad thing.
Yeah. And even though it passed over Jamaica, now it's over open water again. There is a possibility that this hurricane may up its ante to Category 5 again. Like I said, I'm going to keep a close eye on it, and I will keep reporting about it as we go through the day tomorrow. Yes, I'm going to enjoy fireworks, but after the fireworks are over, I will be planning on coming back on the air to broadcast what's going on. We have people over there in the Yucatan Peninsula and Mexico to watch this program. I'm going to try to save some lives. I'm going to try to save some lives. Tim Gibson wants to talk about Biden. Yes, we'll talk about Biden.
Absolutely.
I guarantee we're going to talk about Biden in just a second. Tim Gibson says Biden is running, no one is pushing him out. What a joke. I agree. I totally agree. And so does Canadian Patriot One. However, guess what? Things are changing. things are changing. It's
Oh,
going
yeah.
to. It's going
Things
to.
are going a million miles an hour.
Yeah. Tim Gibson says Brownsville, Texas will be the next place after the Yucatan Peninsula, and you're right. Southern Texas and eastern Mexico are going to be hit next. The people in eastern Mexico and southern Texas, including Brownsville, need to get their preparations now. Not necessarily to take cover now, because it's another 36 to 48 hours before it hits in eastern Mexico. But it will. It will. And yes, we will be covering it when it does. All right. Let's talk about what's going on politically. Okay? I think it's very important. First off, I want to show you a slide here. I've already talked about this with Dave. He's very well aware of what we're doing. Okay? I want to show you this slide here. Sources are saying that Jill Biden is negotiating an exit deal for her husband. Jill Biden wants $2 billion in a presidential library fund. She wants protection from prosecution for the entire Biden family. She's also demanding a guaranteed $100 million book deal. She wants a guaranteed $100 million book deal for Joe Biden to resign. But that's not all, folks. There's more. Wait till I show you what happens now. Okay? Another person on the internet put this up. I'm going to share it with you right now. John McAfee, who is allegedly dead, put this up. Somebody is running his website. Okay? Someone is running his website. Russia's first time traveler is returned. Guess what he said? Before he left this earth, he said in September Biden is going to be medically diagnosed as unfit for office and quit.
You're breaking up, Ron.
I'm breaking up?
Yeah, a little bit anyway.
Okay, I hope that doesn't continue. Anyway, John McAfee said in September, Biden will be medically diagnosed as unfit for office. Well, guess what? He already has. The Surgeon General of the United States, who is responsible for the health of the president, has already declared Biden unfit for office. What's going on? I'm about to tell you what's going on. Okay? John McAfee said they discover that the DNC, the Democrat National Committee, has legal power to choose a replacement without a national vote. We're going to discuss this. They discovered that the Democrat National Committee has legal power to choose a replacement without a national vote. When's that going to occur? This could occur at any time. However, as I spoke about Jill Biden last night, right after the debate with President Trump, Jill Biden and Joe Biden went backstage. Jill Biden had to actually escort President Biden off stage because he was medically unept to do it. He couldn't find his way off stage. He could not find his way off stage. He had to be escorted off. Jill Biden escorted him backstage to his supporters. Jill Biden proceeded to introduce her husband. He said Joe answered every question. Joe Biden stood not that far away from Jill. There are pictures of it on the internet. Jill Biden has got the microphone saying Joe answered every question. Joe answered every question. Shortly after that, the Surgeon General said that Joe Biden was not medically up to running the country. All of a sudden, the Democrats went off the deep end. On Saturday, President Biden and President Biden's advisors went to Camp David and asked that Joe Biden and his wife go out to Camp David. Go out to Camp David. They have already started preparing for Biden's exit. As I showed you a few minutes ago, Jill Biden, Joe's wife, is trying to negotiate for his exit. What is going to happen? After July 11th. July 11th is when President Trump is supposed to face charges for sentencing in Judge Merchan's courtroom. But because of what the U.S. Supreme Court already said, and it still applies in Judge Merchan's court, even though in Judge Merchan's court, he ruled that the jury ruled and found President Trump guilty on all 34 charges against him. However, the Supreme Court ruling took off some of those charges, said they didn't apply. Why? Because President Trump's former attorney, Mr. Cohen, he testified against President Trump. Mr. Cohen has served time in prison as a felon. Mr. Cohen should never have testified against President Trump as a felon. But Mr. Merchan, the judge, allowed it to happen. He allowed it to happen. And it wasn't just Mr. Cohen. It was other people also who testified against President Trump. People that should never have been allowed. And now because of what the Supreme Court ruled, Judge Merchan cannot sentence President Trump. The sentencing may go after September. The sentencing could go after President Trump is elected. It's very possible that it could come after President Trump is already elected. Judge Merchan was trying to put President Trump behind bars in Rikers Island. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. It does not look like it's going to happen.
Yeah, and they were trying to take away his Secret Service.
Yeah. The Democrats were trying to take away his Secret Service because the Secret Service would have to be in prison with the president. The Secret Service would have to be able to clear part of the prison to keep the prison population away from the president. So the Democrats were trying to take the Secret Service away from President Trump as he is a convicted felon. Well, guess what? So far, the Democrats haven't been able to do that. They haven't been able to do it. Number one, it's illegal. It's illegal for the Democrats to pull this stunt.
Yep.
Now, why? Let's talk about this for a minute. Dave and I discussed this about an hour or so ago before we came on the program. There are 5 branches of the government. The executive branch, who is the President of the United States.
Yep.
What are the check and balances to the President? Number one, the President is governed by the U.S. Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court is the ultimate judge for the President of the United States. Guess what? They just protected the President. One of the other checks and balances are the Senate and the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives. The House of Representatives, even though the Senate is controlled by the Democrat Party, if they were to even succeed in putting up a bill to cancel Secret Service coverage on the President of the United States, The House of Representatives is still in charge. The House of Representatives would have to okay that. The House of Representatives is controlled by the Republican Party, the grand old party, the GOP. So if the Senate tried to put up a bill to get rid of Secret Service for President Trump, the House of Representatives would say, oh, you can't do it. It's illegal. And even if that happens, the U.S. Supreme Court would say, no, Democrats, you can't do it. Why? Because there are 5 conservative judges on the U.S. Supreme Court. And that's why the Democrat Party is calling nix on the Supreme Court, trying to cancel the U.S. Supreme Court. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about this. And very soon we're going to talk about what's going on in Canada. Because what's going on in the United States is being echoed in Canada, believe it or not. I've seen this. Dave and I have been talking about this for a very long time. What's going on here in the United States? The New York Post. Here's the front page of the New York Post. The front page saying that the president, Joe Biden, is only alert from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. 72% of the aides and 72% of the people in the United States say Biden is unfit for the job. Hunter Biden has been invited to the White House. Hunter Biden is a felon. Hunter Biden is a convicted felon. Guess what? As a convicted felon, Hunter Biden should not be anywhere near the White House at all, even though his father's president. A convicted felon cannot be invited to the White House. A convicted felon should not be gotten anywhere near the President of the United States. Shouldn't be there. Look what else the New York Post said. Off his clocker. Off his clocker. Again, the Surgeon General of the United States has already ruled that the President of the United States, Joe Biden, is not mentally fit to be president. Unreal. So the Democrat Party is going to try to replace Biden. Whether it happens when the Democrat National Committee meets in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention. It could happen before that, or it could happen after the convention. If Jill Biden gets her way, she could keep President Biden in place, even though the Surgeon General says he doesn't belong in the presidency. Which means...
And that's why...
Go ahead.
That's why they're not allowing that information to get out.
Yeah.
They are trying so hard to hide that information from the Senate and the House.
Yeah. It's gradually getting out, though.
Yeah.
So what is going to happen? What is going to happen? The Democrat Party is going to try to get rid of Biden. There are 2 proposals here. There are 2 different scenarios. The potential 2024 Democrat scenarios are here. One is called the Obama Gambit. First, the Democrat Party either before, during, or after the Democrat National Convention, they put up Michelle Obama to run for president. There are still a great lot of people that respect Michelle Obama. Several months ago, Michelle Obama said she would not run as president of the United States. Okay?
Yep.
Songstress Griffin is here in the chat saying, I heard somebody say Michelle Obama would try and get in there. Michelle Obama several months ago said she did not want to run for president. But
that is correct.
one of the gambits One of the gambits the Democrat Party is trying is to put Michelle Obama up for president. Then she will nominate Barack Obama as the vice president. Once Michelle Obama assumes the presidency on January 20th next year, Michelle Obama would step down and Barack Obama would become president, because he would be the next in line as vice president. Not just the first man of the country, because Michelle Obama would appoint him as vice president. And if she was elected, Barack Obama would be the vice president of the United States. Then Michelle Obama would step down and Barack Obama would take over again as president of the United States. That's one scenario, the Obama Gambit. The next scenario is this. Kamala Harris stays as vice president. Obama wins. Obama wins. Biden has Kamala Harris step down. Biden wins and Kamala Harris steps down. Then Biden appoints Hillary Clinton as vice president. Then, right here, Biden steps down. Biden steps down would make Hillary Clinton president of the United States. Who would be your vice president? Let's talk about that. Possibly Mr. Newsom from California. Possibly Mr. Newsom from California. Or who else, Dave?
Gretchen Whitmer.
Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan.
Yep.
Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer is not liked by anybody, including her own party. But at this point in time, the Democrat Party doesn't have anybody else but Newsom or Gretchen Whitmer. So these are the two gambits the Democrat Party has. One, Michelle Obama running. Barack Obama coming in as vice president. Michelle stepping down and Barack Obama becoming president for the third time. Or Biden wins the election. By some chance, the Democrat Party cheats and steals again and elects Biden as president. Then Kamala Harris steps down. Biden then appoints Hillary Clinton as president. Biden then steps down and Hillary becomes president. And then appoints either Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom as vice president. Incredible.
Yeah, anybody that thinks that they couldn't do this better think again, because we all know that there's nothing that the liberal Democrats wouldn't do to completely finish destroying the country. Not just this country, I mean all the countries. The Western world will fall.
Did you hear that, guys? You need to understand this. The Western world will fall. This is not just about the United States of America. With this gambit, either one or both of those gambits, guess what? The Western world would fall. Because the Western world has already been invaded by people from 129 different countries. The Western world has been invaded by 129 people, by people from 129 countries. What's that going to do? What have they already done? Men, mostly men, have invaded the United States and invaded other countries. We've seen it. It's documented. They are destroying country after country, wherever those people go. They're from China, from Russia. They're terrorists from the Middle East. There are prisoners from prisons in Venezuela and Mexico. and Central America that have been released and made their way into the United States. It's a fact. As I said the other day and many times before this, those people have gotten into the United States, and I've seen on cameras these people smuggling weapons into the country, carrying weapons into the United States. It's unheard of, but it's happened. Our government has allowed it to happen. Our government has let these people come in. Joe Biden, the first day he was in office, turned the country upside down. Within the first 18 hours of him being president, he signed over executive orders allowing the southern wall to come down. He told the world that the southern wall is going to be destroyed. Before he was elected, he told the public the southern wall was going to come down under his administration. Biden won by hook or crook. We all know what happened. It was stolen. Biden became president. The first day Biden attempted, well, actually Biden did issue executive orders permitting anyone that wanted to come into the United States to do so. That way, the Democrat Party would have absolutely control of anybody coming in, number one, and two, they could make sure that those illegal people vote for Democrats to keep the Democrat Communist Party in power forever, in perpetuity. Now, what you may or may not know is the Biden administration has hired non-governmental agencies, what they call NGOs, to sign these illegal immigrants up to vote. The Biden administration has now allowed these illegal immigrants to vote. That is also a violation of United States law. The Biden administration is voiding U.S. law. In the past, you had to have documentation to vote. Here in North Carolina, you must have an ID to vote. You must have a United States issued ID. Whether it's a state ID or a U.S. ID, you have to have a U.S. ID to vote. These illegals do not have that piece of paper. They don't have that card. But they are being allowed to vote. So the Democrat Party has hired these non-governmental organizations to go around and solicit these illegals to vote and sign them up to vote. Sweet Polly Purebeds here in the chat says, Michigan valid ID. Michigan has a valid ID, although Gretchen Whitmer will probably change that. Utah has an ID. When I lived in Utah, you had to produce a driver's license in order to vote. A driver's license or a card issued by your precinct. By your precinct that shows your precinct and your name as a valid resident of that precinct in order for you to vote. Well, that's changing all over the United States. Okay?
The blue states are going to change it. Absolutely.
Yes.
The red states, they'll oppose it. I really believe that. See, there's two possible scenarios with that. One is that for the odd chance that Biden gets away with that, the Supreme Court would put a stop to that.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal. Now the other is there'd be an uprising. We don't want to see an uprising. We have to put some faith in the Supreme Court. But I mean, they are there to protect that Constitution. Whether they do or not, well, we'll see. I know that the one judge on the Supreme Court there, they basically said that there'd be a civil war.
Yeah.
And that was the wrong thing to do. The Democrat judge, all she's doing is adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing with this is that, just say for the sake of argument that did occur, and it was stopped. The Democrats, meaning the nice people they are, would start a civil war.
Yeah.
We already know that, because what are they allowing? What have they been allowing the Antifa to do and the Palestinians to do? Create issues, which is creating more division in the country. And unless people come together and realize that, look, this isn't going to work for us, we need to stop it. In California, I don't believe that the majority of the people in California are happy with Newsom and what's going on now with the immigrants.
No.
All the businesses that are leaving, and so on and so forth. Now, again, that being said, the other side of the coin is the Supreme Court upholds all that, and these people aren't allowed to vote. At that point, the Democrats will declare a civil war, as I believe Maxine Waters and Pelosi and that have already said outright. Then it's going to be up to the Patriots to stop it. Because the Democrats will not listen to the Supreme Court. They do not care about the law. Which again is a problem. The best thing that we can do is keep our heads on a swivel and watch what's going on in our own neighborhoods, our own backyards, to keep our families safe. We don't want to go out and instigate anything, because as patriots, that's not what we want. We want the country to be run as a free country. People are allowed to protest and say what they want. We don't have to agree. But that's a right in a free country. Violence is not acceptable. And that is, all that's going to be down on law enforcement to stop.
Yeah. And that's the other issue too. Guess who is...
What's funny is, as it sits now, if China was to invade America at 6 o'clock in the morning, Biden's only awake at 10, so they noon.
Yeah. Yeah, noon. Noon. If China...
that's a possibility. They could do that, because he's the only one that could say, hey, go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yesterday, Putin, President Putin of Russia, issued an order. He warned Biden, if we did not stop allowing Ukraine to bomb Russia with U.S. weapons, then Putin was going to attack the United States. Putin has regularly informed the United States that Putin is going to drop the bomb on the U.S. Many times.
Well, how many times has he been threatening that? How many times has he threatened to drop it on the UK? The reality of the thing is that Putin is losing control in his own country.
Yeah.
There's civil war in a lot of the little provinces or whatever that there are in Russia right now, but they try to keep that out of the news.
Yeah. They try to keep it out of the news.
The internal issues in Russia, well, Putin's been getting rid of all his top commanders and that. Why? Because they don't agree with him. And he's executing a lot of them.
Yeah. Did you hear that, guys? Putin is executing a lot of them. Incredible, huh?
It's stuff that, there are things that, lately I've been doing a lot more research on things, and the further down the rabbit hole I go, the more interesting things get. And nothing really surprises me anymore. The more information I find, the more I want to find.
Yeah.
Because I like to question things.
I do too.
And we're, like I said, we are at a precipice in this country where it's a question of whether we're going to remain free or we're all going to become slaves. And that's the West. If the West falls, if the U.S. falls, we're all done. everything goes downhill.
Did you hear that? If the U.S. falls, the Western world falls down. It's all downhill. Okay? Do we want that? No. Now, Ray Spur just said something important that you may or may not know about. There is a large force of UN soldiers in the United States.
Absolutely, and Canada.
And Canada. Why is that important? Because the Secretary General of the United States has control of the forces of the United Nations. Now, before I left Utah, I found out that the government of Utah, starting with the mayor of Salt Lake City and the city council of Salt Lake City, Utah, had already signed over ownership of the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City. The Salt Palace is a public building, or was a public building until about 5 years ago. The Salt Lake City Council and the state of Utah signed it over to the United Nations. When I found that out, I went over to the Salt Palace and tried to gain entry. And of course, I had on my EMA t-shirt. You saw that probably last night on the program.
Yeah.
When I walked into this, or tried to walk into the Salt Palace, I was greeted by a United Nations police officer. A United Nations police officer wearing dark blue pants and a light blue shirt and a United Nations badge and United Nations patch on his shoulders. I was told that if I tried to enter the Salt Palace, I would be giving up my civil rights, because the Salt Palace is now under UN control. As long as I stay outside the Salt Palace, my rights as a citizen of the United States are still valid. But as soon as I cross that threshold into the Salt Palace, I lose my rights and have to abide by United Nations law. I was pissed. They would not even allow me to record that on my cell phone. They would not allow me to record that on my cell phone. So I marched across the street. Well, not across the street, but I marched over to the City Hall in Salt Lake City. And guess what? The mayor refused to talk to me. No member of the city council wanted to talk to me, because I want to talk to them about it. They wouldn't allow it. They would not allow it. They and the governor of Utah signed over the Salt Palace, which was a public building. It's an arena where basketball teams, hockey teams, and church services had been occupied there in the Salt Palace. And yet, now the city council and the state of Utah had turned the Salt Palace into a UN facility. Incredible.
Yeah, and what makes it worse, Ron, is the fact that the UN forces are not our military. They're bringing these people into this country, and a lot of them are UN people. These are fighting age men coming into these countries.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are UN. And what's the best way to get troops into the country without causing any grief? Come in as a normal citizen from some other country, wearing regular clothes. You come in with military uniforms on, what are people going to think? It creates panic. But if you come in just as a normal dressed person, there's not as much trouble.
Yeah.
Well, people are, oh, well, they're just immigrants, but they're not. And that's not just happening here, it's happening in all the countries. The UK is bad. I mean, the majority of the people in the UK people, the actual English in that, don't run their country anymore.
true. Ray Spurce is
Canada we don't run our country anymore.
right.
And that's what the Democrats are trying to create in the U.S. because they know that is the key to the whole house of cards falling.
Yeah,
If the U.S. falls, we all go down.
yeah, that's true. Ray Spur just put up a chat, and I agree with it. Ray Spur says, Ron, you're just a rabble-rouser. Guess what, Ray? You're absolutely right. I am a rabble-rouser. I am standing up for my rights. I'm trying to stand up for all of your rights as well. That's why we're on the air. All of you need to be backed up. All of you need to be able to stand up and be backed up. And here on Emergency Management Associates, we are family. We are a fighting force. That's why one of the reasons I want to gain as many subscribers to this channel as I possibly can. Because the more subscribers we have, we become a force to be dealt with.
Well, exactly. And the reality is, it's not to create fear. We don't want to scare people. We want to make them aware.
Yes.
And the key to this whole thing is this: if you live in fear, you can't think straight. But if you have knowledge and you stay calm, you'll be able to make the decisions you need to make when the time comes.
Yeah.
And having that knowledge is going to help you as opposed to harm you.
Did you hear
That's
that?
why we preach preparedness. Be prepared for anything.
And if we don't become prepared, what's going to happen, Dave? What's going to
We're
happen?
done.
Yeah.
We're done. It's that simple. Be aware. Be aware of your, wherever you're at, be aware of your surroundings. You'll notice things that are out of order in your surroundings if you're paying attention. If your head's on a swivel, you'll see things that, well, that's not normal. And then you have the opportunity to get away from it. And realistically, unless you're ready and prepared for anything, you can get hurt in a hurry.
And we don't want anybody to get hurt.
Absolutely not, no.
S. Nort just gave us another $20 super chat. Thanks, S. Nort. I just gave you an EMA sticker on your super chat. I appreciate that so much.
Yes,
We need that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We need that to stay on the air.
Now, we can go into the Canadian stuff now if you'd like.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Canada. Dave, what's happening in Canada? Some of you here in the chat are from Canada. A lot of you. What's happening in Canada, Dave?
Well, one of the things that's happening is that basically there's an investigation into Trudeau by other MPs. And what's happening with Trudeau is that the RCMP was on stand and they were getting reamed for letting Trudeau go off on all these crimes he's committed. And the answers that they were giving, they were just fucking the system. Well, you know, Mr. Trudeau makes the final decision on this stuff. He absolutely refuses to give the RCMP any information that they're asking for, which hangs them. And the RCMP is saying, oh, okay, well, let's find that. See, according to even Trudeau, everybody in Canada is equal under the law. So why is it that he is allowed to say, oh, no, I'm not going to bother because I'm not going to give up this information because it'll hang me. Why do we have to answer to things and he doesn't? You see, much like in the U.S., Canada is similar in that we, the people, are the ones that vote these people in for our bidding. We don't get dictated to. We're not supposed to get dictated to. Yet Canadians are allowing this to happen. And there's not enough of an uproar. Now, one thing that did happen this past weekend that I think is a good thing is in Toronto, the Pride Parade was stopped by Palestinians. There was Antifa and patriots that were opposing this. And when Antifa gets involved, I mean, it's the left eating the left. And I'm good with that. But these things are things that should not be happening in a free country. Trudeau, I don't know how many people know, but Trudeau's father, Pierre, was a card-carrying communist. And Justin is following in his footsteps. Even though I do believe that Castro's his actual father, but that's my thoughts and feelings on it. But these are things that shouldn't be happening. The corruption in the government here is just beyond anything that Canadians have ever seen. And Canadians, for the most part, I guess we can say we're pacifists. The problem is, like in World War II, when you piss off the Canadians, we stand up and we fight like mountain lions. And I'm afraid it's going to come to that point. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But the reality is that seems to be where it's going. So many people are losing their homes, just like in the States. So many people can't feed their kids, can't afford to eat and hydro because of the carbon tax and the other stupid taxes that we have. And the laws are being changed to benefit people from other countries. Canada has its own identity. We don't need anything changed. If you don't like it here, go home. It's really that simple. Why should we pay for people to come into our countries so that they can live high in the hog? And our people, our vets, are living on the street. We can't get proper medical care. It costs us money, and we have medical care. Yet, when anybody from any other country comes in, they don't pay a dime. Everything's covered, and they get X amount of money for each child that they have. They're living high in the hog. We can't afford to eat, and they're living high in the hog, living in all these luxury hotels. Here's the thought. You go and live on the street, put our vets into this high-end housing. Let them have something for a change. But again, for me, this is a personal thing. Now, I'm going to say something that I know a lot of you are not aware of. What our governments, and I'm not just talking about Canada, but in America too, you know, these 15-minute cities that they discuss, and we're going to do it this way, and you're going to have electric vehicles. What this is what they've done to the natives initially. The First Nations were told, okay, you're going to live on this reserve, and we're going to give you everything you need, but you can't own anything. You can't own your property. But we're going to give you this, and we're going to let you not pay taxes and so on. And they went along with it. Then the residential schools came along. What are our politicians doing right now with our schools? They're taking our parenting away from us so that they can program our children to think the way they want them to think. That's what happened in the residential schools. You're no longer allowed to think this way. You have to think the way we're telling you to think. Now, if you don't see the comparison from what happened with First Nations and what is happening now, how things are coming together in the same way, they're taking our rights away from us. They're trying to destroy the nuclear family. They're putting us basically in prison camps. A 15-minute city is a prison camp.
And that's
a reserve.
And they're doing the exact same thing here in the United States. The Biden administration are building prison camps here in the United States for those of us that refuse to comply with the Biden administration. Fact.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. I mean, you can all make your own decisions on how you want to deal with that, but it's a fact. We are being treated the way that the First Nations people were treated. And unless you wake up and smell the coffee and realize what's really going on, you're going to wake up one day and find yourself in a 15-minute city. And you're going to be told, you cannot leave this area. That's all. That's as far as you go. Then they're going to bring in the digital currency. And they're going to tell you, if you do something that we don't agree with, we're going to cut the amount of money that you get. You won't be able to buy these things. You won't be able to buy food. And they don't care, because it's all about them being in control. They can do whatever. Justin Trudeau's a perfect example. He flies around the world in his private jet, spends $220,000 a week on food. I don't know what he's eating, but I can tell you, I had $220,000 a week. I wouldn't be able to eat that kind of food. That would cover my house. Now, these are things that people need to realize. They don't care about us. And anybody who thinks that the government in any way, shape, or form cares about us is nuts. USGS is a perfect example over there. They don't care if there's an earthquake. They don't want you to know. They want you to stay calm, stay in your area so that they have a voting base and a tax base. They don't care. When they get to 15-minute cities, they're going to be in all these areas as well. You won't be able to leave. That's why you need to have an out. You need to think ahead. You need to think of an out. If something goes down, you have to have a place to go. You have to be prepared. And you have to be a critical thinker. I know it's hard for some people because you have your day-to-day life. And everybody gets caught up in their day-to-day life. I do too. But the reality is that the information is still in the back of my head that I have an out. And I can sleep better at night knowing I have an out. And then I'm prepared for what's coming, for whatever comes. And then I'm going to die defending my territory, my home, my family, if need be. We all have to have that mindset. Because this world, the way it's going, it's not looking good. And the best thing we can do is pray to God that He's going to take care of us, or help take care of us. Not staying in the way, because we, as people, God gives us the opportunity. God gives us the opportunity to buy the food to put on our table. Okay, that's from God. But it's up to us to pick up the utensil and eat it. We have to be a part of the solution with God and our families. We can take care of ourselves, and we can take care of our families. And like Ron says, I believe you guys are all my family as well. And I feel the same way. I want everybody to be safe and secure. It's imperative that you prepare. And it's imperative that you keep your eyes open and see what's going on. Read between the lines. Oh, excuse me.
Do you understand what he means? Do you guys understand what Dave's talking about here? He's a guy named LJ is here in the chat. He said all great nations fall. Sadly, it's America's turn. It's not. It's not. I won't let it happen.
That's right. You have to be in that mindset. Defend what is yours, or you'll lose it.
LJ says, sadly, by the time everyone realizes it, it'll be too late. Over my dead body.
That's
over
why
my dead body.
Unite. It's more important than ever that we all unite for the one cause. My loyalty is to God, family, and country. Simple.
Mine too. I've said that so many times during the last 5.5 years. God, number one. 2, family. 3, my city, my neighborhood, my state, my country. I refuse to have them tell me how it's going to be. It's never been the case, and it's not going to be the case. Now, I'm seeing our viewership go down. We had 114 viewers about 30 minutes ago. We now have 71. That's telling me that a lot of people here on this channel do not believe like we do. They've left this channel. They do not support individuality. They do not support freedom. If you guys are so weak, if you people that are watching this channel or who have watched this channel are so weak that you don't want to stand up for what you believe in, get out. Get out now. Why? Because those of us that are here, we're going to settle many numbers more people here. We are going to do something about it. Guaranteed. We will do something about it. What happened during the past, I want to say 6 months, 7 months? What happened? We had Antifa. We had Palestinians creating chaos in our country. Why? Because Joe Biden and his administration allowed it to happen. Fact. Fact. They went and protested in New York City and closed down the city. Antifa and Palestinian people closed down the city. They did the same in Washington, D.C. They went over to Washington, D.C. when the Secret Service and our military, the National Guard, put up huge fences, 10-foot fences around the Capitol and the White House. Antifa and Palestinians pushed it down. It took law enforcement from the federal government to put it back up and hold it there. Because these people trying to destroy this country tried to push it down, tried to take over this country. They've done it over in Canada as well. They did not succeed in Canada, and they're not going to succeed here as well. Period.
Well, Ron, here's something else that people need to be aware of. At least here in Canada, the police cars used to have to serve and protect on them. They no longer have that.
Yeah.
But also, no longer do the police wear the blue shirts and the dark blue pants with the stripes.
Yeah.
Now, they're all geared with military gear. They all have chest protection and everything, and high-powered guns. I mean, it's more military than anything else.
Yeah.
Now, why would that be? Why would that be in a normal society? Why can't they wear what they had before? But because they're expecting to be attacked? No, that's not it. I don't believe that at all. It's because they're the government.
Yeah.
Military.
That's
and they're not arresting. They're not arresting. We've had in Toronto Islamic protesters go up to cops and threaten their life, and the cops did nothing.
Yeah.
If that was you or I, we'd be in jail.
Yeah. We would be in jail, guys. We'd be in jail. Plain and simple. We would not be here because the Democrats would have put us away for a good long time. And they're trying it. Dave talked about 15-minute cities, concentration camps to put us in, to keep us from talking, to keep us from trying to stop what's going on. It's happening. These concentration camps are all over the United States now. Literally, in every state throughout this country. Trudeau is also doing the same thing there. If you think... Go ahead.
All you have to do is open your eyes and you see what's going on. You notice the changes in society. How most people now seem to be depressed because they're busting their butt trying to make money to feed their families and to keep a roof over their head, and it's just not cutting it.
It's not cutting it. Ray Spur just said something that's important. I'm going to repeat it, and I'm going to talk about it for a minute. Ray Spur says Antifa and these aliens, these illegal aliens, gangs from Venezuela, one of the most dangerous gangs in the world, attacked police officers in New York. In one such case, they took the officer's privately owned vehicle away from him by force. By force. The illegals had automatic weapons. These same illegals had automatic weapons. It's illegal for someone who's not a citizen of this country to have weapons of any kind.
Yeah.
Yet these gang members from Venezuela had illegal weapons, and they took the policeman's car away from him by force. That is happening more and more.
Look at the stuff that's actually coming into the country.
Yeah.
The child trafficking, the trafficking of women, all the criminal things that we've been trying to take care of and keep out and throw people in jail. That's all coming back into the country. Drugs, illegal drugs. The number of drugs has gone up exponentially.
Yeah.
That are in the country, illegal drugs. And it's got to stop. We have to put our foot down and say, you know what, that's enough. Either we live with laws or we go back to the Wild West.
Darlene Ram just said here in the chat that she read where the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, were looking for people to join. She said that the ad said that they do not have to be Canadian citizens. That is exactly what Newsom, Governor Newsom in California said there. That California Highway Patrolmen and other police officers in California do not have to be U.S. citizens. I call bullcrap.
Well, what will happen if you get these gang members that haven't been vetted that get into the RCMP or these other police agencies and whatever? Then they have access to all the heavy equipment.
Yes.
And then what happens? Again, now we're looking at the thing where these aren't people that are loyal to your country. These are people that will shoot you for a nickel.
Yeah.
These are people that hate us in the first place. They come into our country, but they hate us. You know, the ideology that's in a lot of these people is just beyond something that we can accept. It doesn't mesh with our ideologies in our countries.
It's true. It's absolutely true. Richard Smith lives in Nova Scotia, Canada. He says he agrees.
Yeah.
We have quite a few people here from Canada that agree with us. It has to stop. It has to be us. All of us standing together and saying, no more. We will not comply. We go after our legislators. In Canada, it's the MPs. In the United States, it's the Senate and the House of Representatives. And the President of the United States. In Canada, it's Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister.
Yep. See, when I ran for the People's Party, I meant what I said. And people obviously weren't interested in the truth. They wanted to believe and buy into all the lies that these other politicians are spewing. I was honest. I was telling people, look, things are going to happen in this country if you allow these clowns to keep going. We need a change, and that's what the People's Party was formed under, was change. Now again, for me, I wholeheartedly believe in the platform that the People's Party has. We are allowed to have our own opinions, to express ourselves. We're not bound to the party lines. We can do the things that none of the other politicians can do without consent of the parties. We can say, look, I'm going to bring this bill forth. I believe that this is the right thing to do for my constituents, and I'm going to vote for this, or I'm going to oppose it on these grounds, so on and so forth. I love that idea. Now, we also have the idea where we wanted to allow the First Nations to own property in that. We wanted to scrap the Indian Act. A lot of natives were with us. Native heritage. I don't think that people should have to be forced to live in a reserve and be fed money and booze and that, because that's what's going to keep them happy. Because it doesn't. A lot of the chiefs are corrupt on the reserves. And Trudeau keeps feeding them money and whatever else to keep them in line. But the people aren't happy. Their people are not happy.
The same thing with the Democrat National Party. The people aren't happy. Period. We're not happy. All of us together, Canada and the United States, we are not happy. It's got to stop. There has to be a line in the sand. Somebody said that earlier in the chat.
Yeah.
There has to be a line in the sand.
There absolutely does. Do not cross. Here's the consequence if you cross the line. I feel that my country is like my home. I will not allow people to walk into my home and rewrite the laws that I have placed in my home. They come in to my house and do it, they're leaving.
Yeah.
In a hurry. Through the door, through the window, through the wall. I don't care, but they're leaving. But that's how I feel about it. I'm not going to allow somebody to come into my house and purposely harm my family or take something from me that I earned.
No.
That's just not going to happen.
You've all been...
I will defend what I have to.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm going to do it too. I'm going to defend it. And I've said this before, I'm going to stand by it today. If anyone comes in my home to do harm to my family, it doesn't matter whether they're blood kin or not. My dogs, I consider them my children. My wife, her children are my children. My children are her children, if they're here. If anybody comes into my home to hurt them, heaven help them. Because I will destroy them.
I feel the same way. But I'm not going to let somebody come into my home to harm me. I don't want to harm anybody. But if you're coming into my home to harm me or my family, then I'm going to have to stop that. However I have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do it, but if I'm forced to do it, I will do it. I will defend my family and what's mine.
You won't be allowed.
Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to have to harm somebody.
I don't want to harm anybody, but I will.
Yeah, but that's the mindset that we have here in free countries.
Yeah.
These people from these other countries, well, these gang members and that, they don't care. They don't care who they hurt, rape or kill or whatever. And that's growing more and more, the more of these people that come in. And it's very unfortunate that the demon rats don't see it or don't care. All they care is destroying the country, and that's wrong. Now, Trump, my understanding is, I heard this, and I think it's a great idea, that if Trump does it, he wants to bring in military tribunals for the people like Biden and Hillary and all them. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Because they are responsible for crimes. bad crimes against the American people.
These illegals that attack citizens here in the United States, including police officers. Who started it? Who invited those people in? Biden. Biden. That is one reason that Miss Jill Biden wants immunity for the Biden family. Because Biden, as an official act in his presidency, allowed this to happen. Inviting these mobs into the United States and Canada to allow a takeover of our countries over my dead body. I'm going to say that right up front.
Even here, Trudeau, when they first opened the floodgates, said that he would be responsible for the people that were coming into the country. Well, people have been murdered and raped and killed. Murdered, raped, and killed. No, murdered and raped and put into trafficking in. Well, if he's responsible, he is responsible. Why isn't he taking responsibility for it? He blames everybody else for the issues he's created, just like Biden does.
Biden has said the GOP, the Republican Party, and Trump, and all of the supporters, all of the MAGA supporters, the MAGA supporters, are responsible for what's happened. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
We are not responsible for what Biden's done. Biden and the Democrat Party are responsible for what has happened. Plain and simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like the liberals are responsible for what's going on, and the NDP now. I mean, to me, there's no difference between the liberals and NDP here.
Yeah.
I think Jagmeet Singh and Trudeau have a relationship beyond political. But that's me. I mean, it seems that way. But the things that are happening that shouldn't be happening, like, people don't see through the lies. Everything that the left is doing, they're blaming the right for, and you have people saying, yeah, you're right, it's the right. It's not the right.
No.
They tried blaming Trump.
You still there, Dave? Huh. They just tried taking Dave down. They buffered Dave, and now his connection might be lost. We may have to go back and get Dave. But the same thing's happening here in the States. Now, Polly Purebred's here in the chat. Polly Purebred said a police officer now in the business has to keep his constitutional mind zipped. He has to keep his constitutional mind zipped. Bullcrap. Bullcrap. There are sheriffs here in the United States that have already said, no way. No way. There are sheriffs here in the United States who supersede any other law enforcement entity here in the United States. The sheriffs are the ultimate law enforcement officer here in the U.S. The constitutional sheriffs. Last night we talked about constitutional law. I uphold constitutional law. I am a former law enforcement officer. I'm retired. It doesn't matter. My oath that I took when I became a cop still stands, just like the oath that all of you who are military people, your oaths didn't expire.
I took the oath. I was also the president of one of the groups in the States. But I was the president of the Canadian section of it. And because of my health, I had to step down. But I took the oath and I meant it. I absolutely will not allow things to continue the way they are. I will speak up. I will use my voice, not violence, but my voice to oppose it.
Yeah. That's what we're doing tonight. That is exactly what we're doing tonight. I know a sheriff here in Burke County, North Carolina, where I live, here in Morganton. He is a constitutional sheriff. He stands by the law. I know many sheriffs in Utah and Colorado that stand by the law as well. Constitutional sheriffs that stand by the Constitution of the United States and they enforce the law.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
And some of the cops believe that. But others will turn on you on a dime. But there's corruption everywhere. But that's why you have to be ready for anything. Be prepared.
Be prepared.
Don't be scared. Be prepared.
Yeah. Now, we have someone in the chat tonight. Okay? Their message was taken down because it's not true. The person said 140 federal officers were attacked and injured during the insurrection. I'm going to tell you that's not true.
It's not true.
I am a federal law enforcement retiree. I know what happened. I saw the videos coming out of Washington, D.C. That did not happen.
Yeah.
There were no federal law enforcement officers injured, and there was no insurrection. Period. There's no insurrection.
Yeah.
There was a police officer who died, and it was said that he was killed in the line of duty. He was not.
He was not, no.
Okay? Didn't happen. Did not happen. I know that for a fact.
Nancy Pelosi was the author of that whole thing.
Yeah.
Trump offered her whatever she needed, and she refused it. But she did that because she had planned with other Democrats, I'm sure, for this thing to go that way.
Yeah.
You don't let people into the White House. Just open the door for them. You got cops opening the door for them. Who gave that order? It has to be Nancy Pelosi because she's in charge of that.
Yeah. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Nancy Pelosi was in charge of what happened on January 6th. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again right now. The chief of the Capitol Police Department. The chief of the Capitol Police Department asked for National Guard to be brought in to back his department up, because his department officers were being run over by people inside the Capitol area, on the grounds. He called the Sergeant at Arms in the Senate, asking for the Sergeant of Arms to give him permission to bring in the National Guard. The Sergeant of Arms said this: "I will run it by Nancy." He would run it by Nancy. What happened? What happened? What happened? Nancy Pelosi said no. Nancy Pelosi refused to allow the National Guard into the Capitol area. Nancy Pelosi, guys. Yeah, I brought you back. How about that? In a heartbeat. No, people don't like the truth. Fancy that. Go figure. Now, I'm talking to Dave off air right now. I'm going to bring Dave back right now. Dave's back. Okay?
Sorry, guys, I got zapped.
Yeah.
I didn't like the truth.
Yeah. Nancy Pelosi refused to allow the National Guard to come in and back up the Capitol Police officers. There were no officers hurt. There were no officers injured, and there were no police officers killed. The one police officer that died was after the fact. He had a heart attack after the fact. Fact.
Yeah.
There was only one person that was killed.
Yeah. And it was somebody who didn't even have a weapon.
Yeah. One
They
person
weren't
was killed.
threatening anybody. Why
Someone,
wasn't that cop charged?
yeah. Someone broke a window in the Capitol building itself. He went through the window. The second person through the window was a female from San Diego, a 23-year-old woman. She was unarmed. A federal officer killed her. She was unarmed. Again, Dave asked, why was that police officer not charged with murder? I'm asking the same thing again. I've said it time and time again. Why was that officer not charged with murder? Because that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
Okay? I'm just going to say it.
I don't hate anybody. I don't want harm to come to anybody, but I don't want anybody harming us or me or anybody. The reality is that, for me, the liberal, Democrats, whatever, are allowing the violence. They created the division, and they want the division because they don't want us to unite. If we unite on one purpose only, which is the best interest of our country, nobody can stop us. The government has no control, no power then. But as long as we allow this division, the government's in control.
Did you hear that? As long as we allow the division, as long as we allow these illegal acts to be committed by our senators, our congressmen, and the President of the United States to allow these people into our country that are violating our laws. Yes, it's called illegal alien crime, migrant crime. It's overrunning our countries. The migrant crime is overrunning our countries. Fact. This is a fact. And yet this president and his administration and the Democratic Party are allowing it to happen. Fact.
And that's the importance of vetting. That's why, you got all these gotaways.
The gotaways. The gotaways are people, illegal aliens, and I'm going to call, and there goes Dave again. They don't want Dave's voice to be heard. They don't want my voice to be heard because last night they interrupted my voice here on YouTube twice. Okay? What has happened? Those illegals that are coming across this border without being detained by the government, by Customs Border agents, Customs Border Patrol, and Customs people on the border. They don't want them to be controlled. They are not allowing it to happen. Plain and simple. They're pulling the plug. It's happened again. Folks, Dave's back.
Yes.
Now the third time Dave's back.
Two different internets. And
Yeah,
they're hitting both of them.
yeah. Folks, they don't want our voices to be heard. They're trying to stop us.
Yeah.
They're trying to stop us. And I'll be damned. I will be damned if I am going to allow it to happen. And I should not be the only one to be saying that. We need to find hundreds of thousands of people to join us. Right now, here on this channel, we have over 5,280 some people that have subscribed to this program. Over 26% of the people that watch this program are unsubscribed. If you enjoy what we're saying, if you want to be a member of this family, subscribe to this channel. When you do that, when you subscribe to this channel, you also need to do something else. There's a little bell icon. You need to click on that bell icon. When you click on the bell icon, a drop-down menu of 3 items will result. Click on the word ALL, all. That will get you subscribed to this channel, and you'll also get notified when we come on the air. Okay? That's the way to do it. And then I'm going to ask you again to do something else. Join this channel. Become a member of the Emergency Management Associates on this channel. Help support this channel. I've kept the memberships low in cost. The lowest cost is $1.99 a month. The second level is $2.99 a month. The third level is $3.99 a month. Okay? That way you can help us stay on the air. You can help us stay on the air. Okay? I'm asking you to do that. Why? Because it's important, as Dave said earlier, and Dave keeps saying, we need to unite all of us. We need to become a full force, a standing force against what is wrong in our society. We need to become a standing force because, folks, YouTube is becoming a large force in our media. The mainstream media is no longer being looked at. The mainstream media is no longer viable. But the alternative media here on YouTube and Rumble and some of the other channels are what is going to run this country. What is going to take back this country. And I'm not just talking about the US, I'm talking about Canada. I'm talking about Britain. I'm talking about Switzerland, Germany, Austria, Spain, the Netherlands, Belgium, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, and Finland. Countries around the world, including Australia and New Zealand. Countries over in South and Central America, and more people in Canada. We need to be a stronger society. We need to stand together. And I am asking all of you to join Emergency Management Associates. Yes, we talk about earthquakes. Yes, we talk about natural and man-made disasters. But who else do we talk about? What else do we talk about? We talk about things that are going to affect you and I. Social issues. That is exactly what we've done tonight. Dave and I have tried to put this up for all of you. That way you know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, guess what? You're going to be run over by these illegal people. You're going to be run over by these Democrat communists of our society. I'm asking you to help us. I'm asking you to be standing up for what you believe in. Standing up for your family, your children, and your grandchildren. Stand up for what you believe in. Okay? That's all I'm asking you to do. Teresa Young here in the chat just said, united we stand, divided we fall.
And that's the truth. Well, I mean, do you notice that there's an all-out war against Christianity?
Yeah.
So tell me, I mean, it's evil against good, and the evil's trying to suppress the good. Are we going to allow that? I'm not.
No way. No way. Rob was here on the channel. Rob52 is on the chat tonight. He said that earlier. We need to stand up for what we believe in. We need to stand up for God. We need to start obeying the commandments of God.
Yeah.
If we don't, we're going to get what we deserve.
Absolutely.
Okay? Odds ATK 9000. Take back what belongs to the citizens, watching and praying for New Zealand. Odds, I want to thank you for being here. Please subscribe to this channel. We have a great many people from Australia and New Zealand here. I appreciate that so much. We all do. Share this channel worldwide. Share this channel worldwide, guys. Everybody needs this channel. This is not just for America. We do not talk just about the United States. We talk about the world. And yes, I'm getting little red faced because I want everybody to know what's going on. I want to make sure we stand up for what is right. And when I start talking like I'm doing, I get a little bit red-faced. It's because I get agitated. I get agitated because I want all of you to join me. There are a lot of people that are watching this channel tonight. They're not subscribers. Please subscribe to this channel and join this channel. We need you. We want you. We want to help each other, help our countries, our cities, our neighborhoods. Do that, please. Help yourselves and help us. We want to help you. Okay? It's true. We want to help you. I invited Dave to be on this channel many times in the past and tonight. I'm going to get Richard Smith here as well. I'm going to continue to bring other people here to the EMA family to talk to all of you. Because I believe in what we're doing. I believe, yeah, Dave says that. He means it. I'm going to get people here from our family here on the air because I want your voices to be known. I want your voices to be known to your citizens and your friends in your neighborhood. It would be great. It would be great. Canadians, New Zealanders, Australians, people from South America, please join this channel. We want you here. We have several people from Costa Rica and Guatemala to watch this channel. We want you here. We have people from all over Europe that join this channel and that show their face here on this channel. Or not their face, but they show their identity here on this channel. We want you here. We want you here. Now, our friend from New Zealand says, fight for freedom, USA. We all lose if you lose. Dave said the same thing. If we don't win here in the United States, all other countries lose as well. And I'll be darned if I will let that happen. I'll be darned if I'm going to let that happen. I don't want anybody to get hurt by a hurricane. I don't want anybody to get hurt by an earthquake, yet that's going to happen. We need to get the word out about preparation, preparing for what's going to happen. Because the more we're prepared, the fewer people that are going to be hurt and killed. We talk about this all the time. We've had train derailments where people have been hurt and killed because the administration doesn't give a damn. They allow it to happen. And yes, I believe that the Palestine, Ohio train accident was not an accident.
I agree.
Okay? The government allowed it to happen. Fact. Fact. It's happened too many times.
It poisoned the water.
And poisoned the air. And that water in the air spread across the Atlantic Ocean. Fact. That air and water went across the eastern United States and south into the southern part of the country as well.
Yeah.
It was planned.
Just like everything else is. That's why they're killing off our cattle. That's why they're killing off our chickens. And that's why they're killing off our fish. It's all about them controlling us. Because then they say, here you go. You get this ration. And if you don't behave, well, then you don't get that. It's all about control and compliance.
Yeah.
I will never comply. They will not have control. It's that simple. We all have to have that mindset. Just say no. Simple.
Yeah.
They tried to force the jabs on us, and what I said no. Ron said no. You know what? It turned out that we were right in the first place by saying, hey, they're trying to poison you. You had people arguing with you because you didn't have a jab and they've had 3 or 4, and they're saying, well, I might get sick because you haven't had the jab. Well, if you've had it, well, it's a vaccine, right? What are you worried about?
My doctor was forced to take the vaccine. She was forced. Now she has cancer, and her cancer was as a result of her vaccine. Proven fact.
That's
My
gone
doctor.
up exponentially as well. That and every other disease.
Incredible.
Yeah.
They forced people to get the jab. People died. They forced the train accidents. They have forced the bridge collapses.
They're forcing the food to be killed.
Yeah.
The farmers cannot farm their fields. Where do you think the food's going to come from? All these other people, oh, well, gee, I'll just go to the store. The store's going to have none. Anybody that's been to a store lately notices that there's shelves that are empty. That's just the beginning of what's to come.
Shelves have been emptying since COVID. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? They killed off 185,000 turkeys in the southern part of the United States. They killed them off. Why? Because the government said that those turkeys and chickens might have bird flu.
Bird flu, yeah.
They said they might have bird flu. They might. So the government said to kill them off. And those chickens...
Processing.
Yeah.
Processing plants.
Yeah.
How many of them just went up in smoke accidentally?
How many cattle were killed during COVID?
Yeah.
How many cattle? What happened?
Cattle and pigs. Yeah, goat.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Thousands of cattle have been killed here in the United States, and guess what? Our cattle get shipped to other countries for meat.
Yeah.
Just
A lot
about,
of grain.
yeah, grain's the same way.
Where's it come from? Ukraine. And now there's no grain really coming out of Ukraine anymore. Not much anyway that's coming out. And the grain that we grow here is limited. They're not allowed to have full fields of grain. And you're looking at guys that are buying up all these farms and because the guys can't afford it anymore. It's government, it's Bill Gates, it's China. Why are we allowing this?
They said it. Why are we allowing it? We need to stand up and have our voices heard. This cannot continue. We cannot allow this to continue any longer. It has to stop.
The more that we allow them to take, the more they're going to take.
The Democrat Communist Party has to be stopped. The Communist Party in Canada has to be stopped. The Communist Party in Australia and New Zealand has to be stopped. It has to be stopped all over Europe. Literally. If it doesn't stop here in the US and Canada, every other country is going to suffer. Fact.
That's correct.
Fact. I'm standing here not standing, but I'm sitting right here in front of you to testify about that. Take back our countries. Take back our countries. And while I'm talking about that, the government, the Biden administration, the Bill Gates of this world are also poisoning our food.
Yes, they are.
They
and
are
making us eat crickets.
Yeah, and they're making us eat crickets. And not just that, they're putting illegal drugs into our food.
Poisoning our food, yes.
They're poisoning our food. They're putting vaccines in the food as well. Watch what you're eating.
Vaccines to the animals.
Yeah,
And it's the mRNA ones, too, they're giving to them.
yeah. Are we going to allow it to happen? I say no. And Teresa Young says it's a demon power. You're right.
It is.
It's not Christ.
It's evil.
It's evil. It's evil. It has to stop. It has to stop. Some countries, Roger Reynolds is here in the chat saying, some countries are refusing GMO food.
Yeah. Well, now they want us to eat lab-grown meat.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but lab-grown meat isn't meat to me.
No.
It's like a veggie burger. It's not a burger. It may look like one, but it's not a burger. It's a vegetable.
Yeah. It's a vegetable. Go figure.
I like meat.
I want meat. I am not, and I repeat this, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I refuse to eat lab-grown meat. Not gonna happen. If it shows up in our stores, I will go to the meat vendor himself, the farmer out in the field.
Absolutely.
I'll go to the rancher out in the field. I refuse. I'll say it again, I'll say it again and again and again. I refuse to allow this to happen. To allow my family to be poisoned. Literally poisoned, guys. And that's the truth.
What are they doing to our water, Ron?
God.
I mean, they're poisoning the water. They're poisoning, and now all of a sudden it's climate change. Look, you know, to me, in Canada, where I live, there's two seasons. There's winter and bug season.
Winter and bug season.
So that's not climate change. But I mean, you have winter, spring, summer, fall. Done. And you know, each year is different. Yeah, it's getting hotter in some places, but when you start messing with the weather, it creates issues in places.
Yeah.
When you start messing with creating earthquakes, it messes things up. Mother Nature's going to shake us out. Please.
They're still trying to screw with us. We can't let it happen. We can't let it happen.
Okay,
And
I'm
they-
going to top out again.
Yeah.
I jumped over to the other internet because I got kicked out again.
Go figure. Go figure. It's crazy, guys. Dave has been taken off our program 3 or 4 times now. I can hear it happening again. I'm going to bring him back. I'm going to bring Dave back right now. I'm calling him back, but they're still not letting him back. Well, I'll wait a minute. I'll wait a minute and bring him back. Guys, it's happening. And it's going to happen again and again and again unless we stop it. All of us must stand up for truth. We must stand up for righteousness, as I said before. We cannot allow this thing to happen again. We can never allow this thing to happen ever again.
They booted me again.
Yeah, again, for the 3rd time.
Yeah, and the worst thing is, I have 2 internets. I have a cable internet, and I have Star Choice, and they're nailing both of them. Or Starlink, sorry.
Unreal.
They're nailing both of them.
Incredible. It's incredible.
I must have said something that made their sensitive behinds tickle or something. I don't know.
Me too. They took me down. They took me down for about 10 seconds. I brought it back.
Yeah,
Go figure.
it's crazy.
It is crazy. Just a second. Let me turn on the light.
Sorry, Rod. Didn't mean to get a zap so many times.
Hey, you didn't do it. They're doing it to me too. They're doing it to me.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. It truly is. Now, it's Wednesday, July 3rd here in the United States and pretty much all over the world. Except if you're on the other side of the date line. Then it is already July 4th. Tomorrow here in the United States, it's July 4th. It's the United States Independence Day.
Yes, happy Independence Day for those of you in the States. Our day was Monday, Canada Day, the 1st.
Yeah. And I celebrated that. Ask my
I was
wife.
trying to celebrate.
My wife and I celebrated here. Incredible.
I was going to actually have a drink of whiskey, and I didn't, so. But I had a Coke anyway, so.
Yeah. I had something I probably shouldn't have had, but I did it anyway. Occasionally, for those of you that know me, occasionally I'll drink a diet Dr. Pepper. I can't have a lot of sugar, so I drink a diet drink occasionally. I went out and got some diet Dr. Pepper, and yes, I had another one today. So I'm celebrating early for July 4th. Go figure.
Yeah.
But I, on Monday, celebrated Canada Independence Day. Carol and I both did. She had her diet. She had her Mountain Dew. Her medicine of choice is Mountain Dew. We celebrated Canada Day. And tomorrow, we're going to do the same thing here on July 4th. I urge all of you.
Hopefully the only fireworks are the ones that go up into the sky and make pretty pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
As Rebecca, NCWQ Disaster News, Worldwide News Disaster Explorer said earlier, watch yourself if you're here in the United States tomorrow. These liberals and these people that have gotten into this country have said that they're going to sabotage our Independence Day. Watch yourself. Keep your heads on a swivel. Keep your heads on a swivel. Protect yourselves. Protect yourselves, guys. Tomorrow.
Ironically, if Trump was in charge now, none of this would be happening.
No.
None of it.
No, it wouldn't. None of it would be happening. I've said this again, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I am a former law enforcement officer. Yes, I'm retired. Here in North Carolina and many other states, this allows me to carry an open firearm. I will be armed to the hilt tomorrow. I promise you that. Now, I'm not asking any of you to arm yourselves. Do not break the law.
Correct.
Do not break the law. Stay away from breaking the law. Don't do it. Abide by the law. Do not let yourself get hurt, though. Stay away from big crowds.
Stay safe.
Yes, stay safe. Carol and I are going to watch fireworks from our community. But again, I will be heavily armed. I will be heavily armed. I refuse to be taken down. Yes, even here in little Morganton, North Carolina, a town of about 25 to 28,000 people, there are illegal people here.
Yeah.
I had to go to Walmart to see my doctor, my eye doctor today. When I was in Walmart, my wife went out walking around the store. And yes, we did purchase some things after I got out of my doctor's office. But while we were out, as almost every time we go to Walmart or any store, there are illegal aliens wandering around our stores and around our community. Be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head on a swivel.
Be aware of your circumstances and be aware of your surroundings. And anything that looks odd, report it.
What did Dave just say? If anything looks odd, report it. Do not allow yourself to be taken advantage of. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Allow yourself an out.
Does anybody have any questions about anything we said tonight? Dave and I are willing to take any questions and give you answers. Okay? We always will. Dave's a great individual. Dave is a great Canadian.
Dave's sarcastic sometimes, but Dave does that because you can't be serious all the time. It'll drive you crazy.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you can make somebody laugh, hey, it maybe brightens their day, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's true. Now, our wonderful person from down under over in New Zealand, she said, when God is with you, who can stand against you? No sword can be taken up against you shall prosper. Bless you, the United States of America. That's scripture. What Odd said is scripture.
Yeah.
When God is with you, who can stand against you? No sword can be taken up against you shall prosper. Scripture. Scripture.
Well, what have you and I said for so many times on the air? If we weren't meant to be in the situation we're in, we wouldn't have been placed here by God.
Yeah.
We were put here to do things that save people and souls.
Yeah.
Simple.
True.
By God. And I'm not arguing with him. He's bigger than I am.
Oh, I'm not going to argue with God either. I will support God. I will do whatever it takes to stand with God, but I'm not going to argue with the man.
Yeah.
Not going to happen, guys. Not going to happen. Plain simple. No way. Now, I want to share a scripture with you as I have in the past. Every day at the end of my program, I share a scripture with you. Dave can attest to this. Dave has been here a lot when I've been on the air. I've shared a scripture with you almost every day for the past 4 years. I'm going to do it tonight. If
And
you go,
on Sundays.
and on Sundays too. I teach Sunday school. Go figure.
Yes.
Now, I want you to go to 2 Timothy. I've been here before. Go over to 2 Timothy, starting with verse 1, and then we'll hop over to verses 15 and 16. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own souls, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those things that are good, traitors, heady, hot-minded, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. From such turn away. Then we hop over to verses 15 and 16. Hop over to verses 15 and 16. And that from a child thou hast known the Holy Scriptures. Yes, I, as Dave and many others have said before, when I've talked to them, but continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them from. And that from a child thou hast known the Holy Scriptures. As a child, my parents read from the Scriptures to me. As a child. As a child, I learned from the Scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation, through faith which is in Christ Jesus. In verse 16, this is the kicker here. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, and instruction in righteousness. What have we been teaching you tonight? What does Dave and I talk about all night long? Instruction in righteousness, for reproof, and for teaching us righteousness. This is what we've been doing. Brothers and sisters, I stand by what Rob said earlier. We need to follow Jesus Christ. We need to stand up for true principles. Dave and I have been talking about true principles all night long. If you doubt it, go back and listen to this program again. Go back and listen to this program. Yes, it is true, Dave. It is the gospel truth. That's the way it is. Now, I hope you all have a good 4th of July if you're here in the United States. And if you're not, I hope you all have a good 4th of July anyway. Celebrate America's independence. Do those things that are righteous in your sight. Keep your head on a swivel and stand up for what is correct and true. You will be blessed for it. I promise you that. Dave promises you that.
Absolutely.
We love Jesus Christ. We love the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we love our countries. We love our fellow citizens. We need to stand up for what is right all the time, every day, 24/7. I love you, brothers and sisters. I love you, Dave. Thank you for being here with us.
I love you guys too, and I hope you all have a very happy 4th of July.
Thank you, Dave. I love all of you guys. I hope you have a good night. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a great night and a great tomorrow. We will be back on the air for a short time tomorrow to talk about Independence Day. I do have a program here prepared for Independence Day. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, all of you around the world, I love you very much. Dave loves you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Have a good night. Good night, everybody. Much love.